Welcome to Fact or Freestyle.
People love Dave Nourie, and they always answer the phone when he calls. When we get him on Zoom, we ask him to confirm rumors.
Let's see how far down the rabbit hole we go.
Got real quiet. Yeah.
I mean, so this is how I was thinking about, like, kind of talking about what it was like for you back in the day, what you currently are doing, and then what if anything you have to share that's working. Because I'll tell you, I'm still doing gumbies at 55, and if I had the lifestyle that I had when I was a teenager, I don't think I could be doing gumbies at this age. And I'm wondering if that's the same. I mean, Matt, you're like on the whole other side here. I'm a flatlander that had I've never broken a bone. I've done some shoulder injuries and knee injuries. I've never actually broken a bone other than a toe and a finger. I'm like on one side, you're on the other, and I think Vic's kind of in the middle. So I don't know, just like, what do you guys think about your health, the approach to health these days?
I could start that. I'll start because mine will be boring compared to Matt's. You know, I always had a hurt back. So like, you know, everyone's like, oh, my back hurts. I mean, I had, even from the time I was real, you know, like 13, my back started to hurt. And it was excruciating, like, you know, a really bad back pain a lot of time. I mean, most of the time. And nothing I could really do about it. It was just something I woke up with every day. As far as like, you know, when you're young and all you're doing is riding, especially like we were just riding on the street, you know, I mean, so you're just cranking down the road. We didn't have a bunch of skate parks just to sit there and look at our phone all day. We were riding. So like, you're like in shape just in general, and not having a car when you're younger, you're just riding to go to spots and then riding to come back home from spots. So like being in shape wasn't a problem, but for me, it was always back pain. And probably like, that's like 10 years ago, around 10 years ago. And then, so as I got older, I used to do, when I would do like, cause I like to like jerk, you know, like do my tricks all jerky kind of tabletop jerk, and it would just, man, there'd be times it would just rip my back to pieces. I'd just be done for weeks. And so I started to try to be more smooth or whatever. But this is just a crazy thing. About 10 years ago, I went to this chiropractor guy. He was a little bit more on the like mumbo jumbo side. Yeah. But he comes in there and he's looking at me and he goes, oh man, he's like, sit down here. And I sit down and the dude cracked my ankle, right? It was like pop. And I was healed. Like we're talking a lifetime, 40 years of back pain. And it was healed in one crack. Wow. Okay, so I'm like, it's hard to believe. So from the time I'm 40 years old, like I felt better than I had physically my whole life. So because I just didn't wake up with back pain.
So I think it's like a broader kind of question about what is Matt Hoffman's like health program currently right now. What do you do, or what don't you do?
Okay, let's see here. I mean, I always kind of figured my strategy was hurt myself a lot when I was younger, so that whenever I get older, I'm accustomed to it, and I'm used to living with pain, and so I can grow old with pain because I've always had pain. So, but you know, I tried to work out, but working out just never really worked out for me. So I really deserve all the pain that I have. Like it's actually, whenever I was having that session that Vic commented on my can, I did an Indian air before that and threw my back out, and I'm like, oh man, my back hurts so bad. And I was like, okay, wait, I'm gonna do a can and just try to stretch that and see if it pops back in. But then I tried to stretch it and it hurts. I brought it back real quick. And I'm just like, but it did help a little bit. So it didn't really pop it back in, but it helped a little bit. So, I mean, sometimes my body is like, my back gets really jacked, and my my body's kind of like, when I, like, for instance, whenever we were in Germany and we were doing the demo and stuff, and then I crashed and then I couldn't move the next day. And what happens to my body now is I used to be able to, I always would do mind over matter, like mind over body. And then I think my body started realizing that that wasn't working. And so it tried to switch it on me, and now it does body over mind. And so whenever I crash, I instantly get gout attacks that go to my spine, and then I can't move because my body's like, dude, we know you're going to get up and you're going to keep trying this again and again, and you're going to keep hurting yourself. You've been doing this for like 40 years. So we don't trust you no more. We're doing body over mind. Screw this mind over body biz. And so it's kind of locked me up. So now I'm just like, so it's kind of like a defense. My body kind of got into a defense mechanism or something like that. So, and what happens is, I get gout attacks. And so then what I did, I started doing 20 years ago, whenever I started getting these gout attacks a lot, I had to totally change my diet, and I haven't had any animal proteins in like 20 years, just to kind of, to get all the purines out of my body that fuels the uric acid that creates the gout attacks and stuff. So, so I've changed my diet, and then I should stretch, I should do yoga, but I don't. I just basically, whenever I'm in a lot of pain, sometimes if I just make myself ride in pain, it kind of helps a little bit, so I'm definitely not an example for anybody. I don't know. I got nothing. I got no, like, hey, I got a good idea and this really works for me. No, all my ideas are terrible. And, I don't work out. I like my arm barely works, but that's kind of what bike riding's turned into for me. Is it's like my progression now is like trying to relearn how to ride my bike with this jacked up body. Like I like whenever I'd get injured back in the day, I would change my bike so that I wouldn't try to judge myself against how I used to ride before, because so what I would do is I'd take my brakes off, or sometimes I'd even take my chain off, and I'd try to relearn how to ride that way, because then otherwise I would kind of depress myself, because I'm like, I'd never really get back to exactly how I could do that variation or that thing before. But then if I have a different instrument, then it's not that variation anymore. It's a totally different idea and a totally different concept. So I would do that, and that would help a little bit with psychologically to kind of get back without kind of being my worst critic. But now it's evolved into where now it's not my bike that my body is so messed up. I'm trying to learn how to completely change the flows and how I do these variations with a jacked up body. So that becomes kind of a new variation, even though in reality it kind of looks like the same variation. But in my mind, I know that this arm doesn't really work anymore. So I have to do a downside and swing it, and then swing it back. You remember when I used to have that one weird brace that would hold my arm on and stuff? I had that string that attached to my side, and I'd kind of swing it back and stuff. So, I mean, just kind of learning how to kind of rig your body to be able to kind of keep up with your mind. And, but yeah, I don't know. So I have no good advice for anybody. All my advice is terrible, but it's just keep on going and trying to figure it out, and don't accept, like the only thing that is really difficult that like Vic was referring to is like back pains. That's like something that you can't ignore. That pain, it's like it completely makes you weak. Like it takes all the strength out of my legs. And I broke my coccyx, back maybe 10 years ago, and it's just it's gotten worse and worse. And I have back pain all the time. And it's just, and like, this last year, I just built that new roll-in, because I thought, man, I'm just like, I had that rolling for a while, and then I rebuilt my ramp, and then I started rolling in. I was like, I can't pump anymore. And so I was like, dude, I got to just figure out how to pump. And so I didn't let myself I thought I was just making it so easy on myself that I lost my pump. But then so I gave myself almost a year to try to figure it out. And I never could, every session I had, I was never impressed with myself. I'm just like, I'd look down, I was like, really, that's all I got? I pumped as hard as I could for 4 walls, and that's all I'm going to give myself, And I was just like, and then I finally just was like, I'm an old dude. I don't need to, I need a retirement roll-in. I just need energy just given to me. You know, it's like, I don't need to earn this energy no more. Like so I just built that roll-in, and my back's all jacked. And because I think what it is my legs are just weak because my back is so jacked, you know, and I can't pump and pop like I used to because of these back pains. And so now I'm just like rolling in, and I just get this whole ball of energy, and it's like, I don't even need all that energy, but I can just throw it out the door if I want, you know. It's like just here, it's just my total retirement roll in. I can just like roll in, hit. I don't even have to try, you know. My legs I could sit down going up the transition, I could still blast, you know, like so that's kind of what I'm doing now, is I'm just designing my equipment around my gimpiness, and it's helping.
Cool.
That's incredible. It's like street riding. It's the same trick on different terrain. You're doing the same trick on a different body and adjusting to it, and it's a whole new trick.
Yeah, but that rolling, man. I mean, today I actually know. Yesterday I was riding it, and you know, I like, my friends were helping me put the roll-in together, and I was like, all right, is it ready to roll in yet? And I thought for sure it looked like it was totally sketchy, and I thought they were gonna say, no way, Matt. And they're like, yeah, it's ready. And I was like, okay. So I started rolling in, and then yesterday I was on the deck, and it's like 20 feet high, and it's so wobbly. It's like, it's so sketchy. And the whole deck pops down and falls like 2 inches, the deck that attaches it to the roll-in part, like the very top part. And I was like, whoa. And then I went down, I looked underneath it, and they didn't put any bolts to attach the deck together, you know? And so the whole thing broke down, and I was like, oh, that's sketchy. But there's a piece of wood that just caught it, you know? And like, so it didn't fall all the way. And I was, so last night I got this new, well, actually I just went out there and worked on it before this, and I got it all fixed and stuff. But before that I was just like, I didn't get the table like I wanted it, because I wanted to just do like I'll never do a Vic Murphy table, but it was like a table where your top foot slips off and kind of points down, and then you're just like, and it gives you, just when your foot slips off and off the pedal and onto the crank, it just gives you that little extra tweak. It's like, and I was like, that's what I wanted before the session was over. So I was just like, all right, this sucks, but I'm gonna keep rolling in on this sketchy ass roll-in that I have to hop over this 2-inch thing, then down in. And so I ended up doing that yesterday. And then I was like, man, tomorrow is probably, because it's supposed to be in the 20-degree weather like all next week. And I was like, today and tomorrow is probably my only last days to be able to ride that roll-in, except it's raining right now. But so I went and I got a sledgehammer, and I was up there, and I ended up fixing it right before this Zoom call. So, but yeah, that was sketchy. I don't even know. I'm just rambling now, but yeah. I've got my roll-in back, I think is where it's going. It's like, I got my roll-in back, my retirement roll-in, and
your retirement roll-in. I love it.
Screw my body. I'm just gonna get served energy, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna roll in and not even try. I'm just gonna hold on.
Matt, I think Vic and I should give you some names to some of these more alternative body workers.
Yeah, CBD though, that works really well too.
Yeah,
CBD's been helping me out a lot, because it's like it takes inflammation out of my body, that mainly in my spine and stuff. It helps my spine more than anything. Like I would take it takes inflammation out of certain parts of your body that other anti-inflammatories don't, if I feel like. But so that's good. And then